it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Boy, I wish I could sing. Because I'll be tearing it up like, I'll be singing everything. I'm like, good morning. They'd be like, oh, God.
I do that in my car.
Do you?
Car karaoke, sure do. People be riding by. And I got the tinted windows, so when I have the windows down a little bit, they be looking at me cracking up. Because I'll be in it.
But wait a minute, like, don't the shower, like, the acoustics in the shower make me sound amazing. I was singing SWV Week. Killing it. Killing it. And
so
then
you get out there and shower, you be like, oh.
What happened? That is not the sound. That is not the sound that I thought I heard in there. I mean, I was on key at everything.
Oh, Lord.
I'm telling you so. Good morning, ladies. Today's topic is, are we becoming too sensitive? And what you say, Nick, for the listening audience?
Yes, we definitely are becoming entirely too sensitive about everything. Like we've been saying, cancel culture. You say one thing out of line, and cancel culture, cancel,
all the time, all the time.
That's crazy.
Hey, listen. So the hurricane Ian. My cousin's name is Ian. It's spelled the same, so that's why I'm calling it Ian. Yeah, Ian. We'll change the name. We'll change the pronunciation. So down in Florida, I saw some comments and some posts about the people in Florida, which was really wild, though. This was wild. And I'm jumping right into this. There were videos taken where they have one girl holding on to 2 trees in Florida. Yes. Yes. Then I was like, oh my gosh, like, you in Florida, we up here praying for y'all. Y'all making TikTok videos. What is going on?
Right.
I was like, okay. And then I saw a post where a guy posted on there. He said that he doesn't feel sorry for the people that, it was like a group or whatever, where there was like a page where the hurricane, people, mark yourself safe, that type thing in Florida for the hurricane. And some guy posted in there, I mean, it got so many comments, and he was like, I don't feel sorry. You guys knew about this ahead of time. He was like, y'all knew about this well in advance, and they told you to leave, and you chose to stay, and now you're on here talking about you don't have food, and your basement is flooded, and you don't know what you're going to do, and you want somebody to help you. So other people commented under the bottom was like, agreed. And some people said, they were like, you were so ignorant. You know what I mean? You had those that were coming out there. And then one person posted, they said, how selfish is that? They told you to leave. You chose not to leave. And now you want to call a paramedic to come and put themselves at risk to come and save you and your dog.
And your dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was the dog in the car too. And they were like, put the dog out. The dog will swim and you hold on to the dog, But we don't know where will the dog sink? We don't know.
Because that's how a lot of people die, actually, trying to save someone else that's drowning. You're really not supposed to do that.
Oh, so the dog's supposed to let my owner go. I'm out.
Yeah, you better hope the doggone alligators don't get the dog. Yeah. I saw pictures of an alligator chilling in somebody's driveway, and another picture where an alligator actually in somebody's house swimming. They taking a picture of it. I'm not taking a picture of no alligator. I'm trying to get somewhere away from it. Like, the alligator just coming in folks' house chilling, but I had a friend who... He alerted.
Well, wait a minute, 1 second. So what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that comment? Go ahead, Amber D.
Okay, I agree. I feel like the only time it's appropriate for people not to evacuate is if they're like sick and shut in. They don't have a transportation. But even then, it's like you could and then it's like, okay, maybe they don't have family. Okay, maybe they don't have money to like stay at a hotel for the peak core of the storm. But it's like, why don't you have money for a hotel? Why are you in that destitute of a position financially to where you cannot save yourself in the event of an emergency? So it still kind of falls back onto them. Like, you should always have an emergency fund. So it's kind of like, yeah, and I definitely agree with, okay, if you're going to ride the storm out, okay, don't ask somebody to come save you. If that's your right, your American freedom, red-blooded patriot right to stay there if you want to do that. But don't ask nobody to come put their life at risk and screw up their family when they die trying to save your butt because you just made a decision.
Okay, go ahead, Nick the Voice, regarding the first part A of Amber's comment. Like, why don't you have no money and you don't got no money for a hotel? I ain't gonna say they $300 a night. That's why I'm here.
Can't help but to live paycheck to paycheck, so I can kind of understand why they don't. Some people, it's hard for them to save or like whatever money, because the government still ain't trying to push up that doggone minimum wage past $9-10 an hour. Some folks still making $7, which is ridiculous. But because some people, just not able to save. But I kind of agree. Like, yeah, if you are willing to sit there right aside, I'm not going nowhere. Hey, it is what it is. You already know. It's like, it could be hit or miss. This time last time it missed you. This time it's going to hit you. Like I said, I was talking to a friend that's in Georgia, and I ain't going nowhere. And he's going to kill me because I was just alerted. He does watch this show.
Okay, go ahead, but you ain't got to say his name.
Oh, no. I was never that. But yeah, he was like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm tired of running from storms. And the last time I ran from a storm, it missed us and it hit where we went. So I kind of can understand, like, some people, like, they try to go inland and end up getting hit. So I kind of understand, but yeah, I don't care. If they say leave, I'm going to leave. Gotta go.
And see, you know what? Both of you guys brought up good points. If you are elderly, and can't get up there, fine. But I would think that, some people are blessed with family that'd be like, no, come, well, we'll figure it out. And you know how we get down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We gonna figure it out. We'll get some blankets, some pallets on the floor, something. But come on. Now, you do have those who decide, no, I'm just going to stay here. I want to be in my home. So if you want to ride out the storm, ride it out if that's what you plan on doing. Now, you did bring up something you said because Nick the Voice, you said the minimum wage can go up. So do you think that's why people still aren't working because they're like it's a standoff or something? Like, okay, well, yeah, you lowballing us, so we're not going to work.
Going up.
So is this like
the price of everything's going up?
Is this like a silent strike? Is it like a silent strike or something?
Probably.
Go ahead, Amber.
Probably.
I did want to. So I lived in Florida for a couple years, and I will say that we did actually ride out, I think, more than one storm, and that was because the culture was that people were like, "It's probably gonna be fine." And I specifically remember this. I was living in Florida. This was several years ago. There was a storm, and they were like, "You need to evacuate," and they were just like, "Oh, bye, whatever. Like, we're not going nowhere or whatever." And so this meteorologist, he sat on a
who? Not a urologist. I know you're saying. Oh, meteorologist. Okay.
I'm mumbling. I'm sorry. I didn't enunciate. Not talking about his speaker.
Go ahead.
But he said, "You're gonna die. Your children are gonna die." It was like, and then people were sending photos after the storm, and it was like one palm tree fell over. Like, it was ridiculous. So I do feel like, sometimes they hype it up and make it more than what it is. So, I mean, I can understand riding out because you feel safe, or you feel like, you'll be fine, and or you are able-bodied, you do have money, and you can escape if you feel at any point in time that you're not safe.
Okay. I remember, listen here, beforehand, California with the earthquakes. Mm-hmm. So you heard about it. So I'm in California, San Diego, living there. Let me tell you something. I was praying every day it wasn't an earthquake because I got a problem with just thinking that the ground is just going to open and I'm just going to be gone.
But that's really not how earthquakes work. That sounds more like a sinkhole,
now
which
listen
I
here.
am scared of.
An earthquake, let me tell you how the earthquake worked. You couldn't put nothing on the walls. So I'm like, I'm from Ohio. I'm out here like, boom, let's decorate. And I put something on the wall. And yes, it was an earthquake. Jesus. Everything was shaking. So, of course, in my mind, I'm like, oh, God, the earthquake. And we right there, go sweep right on into the water because we right there in San Diego. Everything came off the wall. Let me tell you, I grabbed them little people. I had them 2 little people. I'm like, oh, Lord, praying. Come on. Like, this is it, guys. And then it was over. But had somebody told me, like, we're going to have an earthquake in 3 months. Guess who leaving? Me.
Right.
In 3 months, we're going to have an earthquake, and it's going to be a big one. Me, because I would rather be safe than sorry. And if it's still looking the same, okay, do your thing. Look at God. Won't he do it? But I'm out. First thing smoking. East Coast, here we come. But that's just me. All right, let's do some house cleaning. You ready for this news? McDonald's is bringing back the adult Happy Meal. Yes. What does that mean to you, right? The adult Happy Meal, the Hamburglar, so the toys that were when we were younger are going to be coming back. This is for me and Nick.
Oh, Hamburglar, okay.
The Hamburglar, yes. So all of them, I can't even remember the name. I just remember the Hamburglar because that was the funny one. But yeah, that's what's coming back. How about that? What's your thoughts? Are you excited about it or not?
Yeah, let the kids get a taste of what we had growing up. Just a little taste. Okay. Hamburger.
The cactus plant is the cactus plant flea market. That's who's wanting to do it. So, and then they're adding like a cactus buddy. Now that's not nostalgic to me because I don't know nothing about a cactus buddy.
Yeah,
but I know about the Hamburglar. I remember the chick, whoever she was. But I ain't gonna lie. Let me tell you something. My grandmother used to collect these when we were younger. We thought it was weird. Like, why do you have those? Listen, I was talking to my daughter. Now, this is how long my grandmother collected these things. And she has since passed. And I know somebody threw them things out. I was like, this is stupid. Now I'm like, where are they? Get ready to call my aunt. You still got those?
Right, because now they're probably worth money.
Yeah, she used to keep the wheels like, we couldn't touch them. Whatever. But that is coming back. So for my lovely people who loved McDonald's and loved the old toys that was in there, I like the old cookies, the McDonald's cookies. I did. Yes. I like those. I did.
They need to bring them back.
They were really good.
And they need to bring back them old, skinny, greasy fries. None of that freeze-dried mess that they be selling. The old school McDonald's fries.
Listen, wait. For the listening audience, you ought to see Amber's face like, no, I don't want the grease. No grease. We're not going to do grease, please.
Girl, listen. That's what got everybody addicted. Them old school, greasy, limp. You pull them out and they was limp. But they was the best fries ever. McDonald's messed up when they changed that.
No. All right. Listen.
Amber like, yeah, I know.
So I had to do that part. I had to do the housekeeping for our generation that actually appreciate the Happy Meals and the way that it was. And splitting Happy Meals back in the day. If you didn't have enough, that's what we did. Remember that that video that went viral where the girl was like, well, he only bought one meal for her child. Remember the one that he had? Yep. And then her other children was hungry. Y'all better split that mug, do like we used to do. And for some unknown reason, the hamburgers were really small. The fries were really small, but we made it happen and it worked.
We made it happen.
Now the drink, ain't nobody had no drink. I don't know, like, my aunt used to do that for us. And she'd be like, here you go. And she would split it up. She made it happen. But nobody had the drink. I guess she kept the drink. She was like, oh, we ain't gonna do that.
That's what I was going to say. You know the adult kept the drink. Come on now.
And I'm going to keep the drink.
I got enough to split between all of y'all. Y'all get a swallow. Just a swallow.
I don't want none. I don't want none. Just like, listen, let me tell you. I've been like this, and my child is like this. I remember he was little. Bobbing for apples. It's Halloween time. Bobbing for apples. Listen. But this is so silly because we were there, and they were all young, and we're all standing in line. Yeah, okay. We were all standing in line, and the my son goes up for his. I didn't bob for apples either at the church either. I wasn't for it. And it was his turn. He looked. My son asked. He was probably about 4, no lie. He said, "Are you going to change the water?"
Right, like
my cousin Davita
in line to bob for that apple. I wasn't bobbing for nothing.
Right. So my cousin Davita was like, "That is your child." Her and Sean, they was like, "That is your child." He was like, and wait, he reached his hand in there to get it. It's like, "No, you got to put your mom there." He was like, "You're going to change the water." He's only like 4. It was so freaking funny. All right, let's get going with this here. Kim Burrell. So Kim Burrell was on the Tamron Hall show. So Tamron Hall had her come on and, invited her. She came on and she made that clear that she invited her. She definitely made that clear. I'm like, duh, we know that. That was Kim Burrell. Listen, so Kim Burrell, remember she did that church thing was talking about trailer parks and all that other stuff? She had the audacity to say that when she came on the Tamron Hall show, Tamron asked her, did she regret anything that she said? And she said no. And she said, the church has a certain jargon. So she was like, the church has a certain jargon and, we church people know what we mean. I got a problem because I would be considered church people. And no, that it wasn't okay for me, but it was her thoughts. Now, here's the thing. Why she throw Yolanda Adams under the bus? Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. The church folk is out here showing out. She felt like Yolanda, however you want, Yolanda Adams should have had her back.
For what? You the one that said that, open your mouth and said something so stupid. She didn't co-sign for you then. Why she got to co-sign for you now?
Oh, school's in. School is in.
Like,
yes.
Okay. Was she a part of that dumb thought that you had, or that dumb state? Was she a part of that? Was she standing there? Was she coaching you? Was she yes, amen? If she wasn't, then no, she shouldn't have.
Did you talk to her prior? Look, did you practice your sermon or practice your dialogue prior to with her?
Like, Kim, come on.
And she said, okay. I thought it was so crazy because she was looking for somebody to have her back. Now, out of all people, Yolanda Adams, who was an elementary school teacher, so she's gonna be sensitive to other folks' needs. She's, she was a school teacher. I want to say kindergarten teacher. Stop it. And why are you picking on her? Out of all the people in the church industry or, in the gospel circuit, you go to her? You ain't go to Mary, Erica.
Because they would have gave her.
She know better than to say Leandria, because Leandria came from the bottom.
Okay.
I would love to hear what Leandria would have said.
She know better than came, because Leandria, when she was on that show, Sunday's Best, when she won that, she let everybody know she was at one point homeless. So she knew better than to come for Leandria, because Leandria would have had a whole sermon for her.
Okay, so wait, Kim Burrell
got her right.
Kim Burrell actually said that it wasn't her intent. Her intent wasn't to talk about people that way. It was just the jargon. She was using it as a metaphorically. Now, that made it worse to me. Metaphorically, you're talking about somebody living in a trailer park, because there's some cold trailer parks out there. Let's be real, because I'm rethinking some things.
Manufactured homes have come up.
So, for her to say that, how do you feel? For her to say that and then call out Yolanda Adams, that's about $1.05, if that. I feel like you're trying to call out the little person, somebody you want to bully. Is this like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. It's bully energy. The parts I put her was very like a bullying, antagonistic, aggressive, not in the spirit. And then for her to call out, I mean, I would only think she would call her out, like you said, if they were having a coaching session and she helped her write the sermon and then she just left her out to dry. Or they're friends, they're close friends, and it's like, you're my best friend, you're my close friend, you're supposed to have my back. But if she's just a stranger to her, that is to me that's like mental instability.
Well, they both. I guess they're cool. I guess they're cool in the industry. Okay. But I don't care if let me tell you something. Let me tell you the type of friend I am. So y'all better rethink this, okay? This is for the listening audience too. This is male. If you do something that's off kilter, I'm going to tell you it's off kilter. And no, I'm not going to sit there with a microphone and be like, well, she meant this and that. No, that's a grown woman. You need to be accountable and you face the music. You made your bed, not lie in it. You go in there and say, oh, you know what? Do what the white folks do. I misspoke. That's always.
I misspoke.
They can call you a nigga and be like, oh, I misspoke. And everybody's supposed to say, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a bell. I don't have a bell to ring right now.
You knew what you were saying. There wasn't no you knew what you were saying.
Listen, you know what you were saying, and it's almost like a comedian. And I'm not a comedian, but I do be you know what, I'm gonna take a sound effect to the next comedy show I go to. I be needing, because when they fall, when the jokes fall, I need to be like, because when she was saying her stuff, she follow up. Watch this. When they say something that don't land the way it was supposed to land, they be like, amen. They need that cosigner.
Oh, right. I agree.
So when you hear somebody say that, amen, oh, they didn't say amen. I practiced this and they were supposed to say amen right here. Almost like a comedian. They were supposed to laugh right here. Okay, they didn't. So, yeah, she was up there. She was like, amen, after each one. People clearly read your audience. You got to know your audience. Find another joke. Plan B. This one didn't work. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like sometimes that they say amen.
Abort mission.
Like question mark.
What'd you say?
Question mark. It's amen as a question.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
So it's like the tilt up at the end. Like there is a question because they're like, it's not hitting, because they should have got some amens before they had to say amen.
Right.
Nah, baby. Just abort mission, period. Plain blank.
Abort. Hand the mic back. Abort. Hand the mic back. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this worked. It didn't go like I planned.
Sing your song.
I will say she did say that she meant what she said, or she didn't take it back. She doesn't regret anything. So I was like, okay, yeah, stand on it. Like, you're an unpleasant, mean person. Own that.
And you know what? And that's where I was gonna go. I kind of respect the fact that I said what I said.
Yep.
Because here's the deal. We got to go back to the topic. Are we becoming too sensitive? So if this affects, one person, it's like, oh, okay, well, this affects the masses. So take that back. Why do we keep having to take stuff back? Just don't deal with people.
Right. That would have been me. Because I'm not homeless. You know what I'm saying? What are some of the other things she has said? I was just like, oh my gosh.
Talking about you wearing them hats. You wearing them hats because you ugly. Ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Ma'am, why you looking like a minion?
What?
With them glasses.
I love church hats. So I'm just like, wow. Like, yeah, it was just mean-spirited or whatever to me. It seemed like she started off good, and then it kind of just went personal. It went vindictive. It went, I'm projecting on other women.
You know what it went? It went her way. It showed you who she was.
Right.
It showed her who she was. And by all means, you should not have to apologize for who you are. So in that aspect, I can appreciate her standing on what she believed. Hey, if you want in on this conversation, feel free to do so. The phone number here is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287. We want to hear from you. All right, go ahead. What you got?
I will say, and I remember when we first covered this story, she did have like 3 people that were co-signing her in the congregation, in the recording.
The peanut gallery.
The peanut peanut gallery. Exactly. So the peanut gallery was there. So she has some support. And I feel like this is one of those you'll find your tribe moment. And, you know, the people that received her message and supported it, you know, were supporting her during her sermon. And I feel like the real issue is she has a smaller tribe than what she thought she was going to have.
Okay, I could see that. See, I need to hire me a crew of people. Because, you know, certain people be having people that follow them. And I need y'all to cheer me on. But see, the way that my crew set up, they'll be like,
You're right. Nope, you on your own with this.
Yeah, but like, oh, you lost me, to be yelling back. You lost me, Mel. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if I had that crew to be like, yeah, I'll probably be like, stop, get them out of here. Look, get up.
You putting them out? You putting everybody out?
I'm putting them out because y'all phony, because y'all know that was whack. Or you know what? I think she probably would. She could have saved herself had she said, "Oh, I practiced that one in the back. I guess it ain't laying well." You know, then people would have been like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't know.
Like you said, she showed her true character, and let's just hope she's not the next cancel culture person, because I'm hoping
that she's not.
That just didn't go over well with people. Now we know that apology was fake and forced.
Ooh, like we said, we originally said that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody else wrote that apology.
To keep her from getting canceled, but now you're going to turn around and retract that by opening your mouth on Tamara Hall show, and you know you lived in your truth. Okay, baby, you better pray real hard that you are not the next person that gets canceled.
Well, here's the thing: we need to stop canceling and just change the channel.
Right.
Change the channel, whatever you want to call it.
You know why? Because
be the next one.
Watch this. Because we are becoming so sensitive that everybody is not allowed to be who they are. It's like, okay, you're allowed to think the way that you want to. You're allowed to speak the way that you want to because the masses agree, but I can't. Come on, it's not fair. It's really not fair. That's why I said I kind of respect her. I do. I'll give her that because on the Tamara Hall show, she stood on what she said. So it was clearly, Nick, I'm glad you pointed that out. Like we said, that was the phoniest apology because it wasn't, because let's be real, what's really important, and this is for my lovely people who's writing the paper, what's important is what you say at the beginning and at the end. So if you look at a letter, what's at the beginning, what's at the end. In the middle is all the details, which is all the fluff. But what you really want to say is at the beginning and at the end. Dear so-and-so, you get on my nerves. If you can't put up, then shut up. Sincerely, blah, blah. It is what it is. So just know that. That's just a little token if you're writing a paper. Go ahead.
Now, I also feel like since Nick brought it up, I feel like that's also like a negative mark on her character if she's willing, as a person of God in the pulpit, whatever, to put out a disingenuous apology just to cover herself legally or just
financially. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Cover herself financially or socially, but not have conviction.
Well, you know what though? See, you say have conviction, but if you are in that space, you don't know, and that's her truth. And y'all know my platform, the slogan is, it's okay to be you. Be who you are, Kim Burrell, but I will not be patronizing you. And that's just me. I ain't telling nobody else what to do. That's just me. I'm not going to patronize her because I see your heart. And regardless of what anybody says, everyone wears their heart on their sleeve. Yes. So beware the person that don't wear sleeves. You'll be like, oh, okay, you go hard. I see. Yeah, you got a muscle shirt. Okay, flex, because she actually expressed who she is. And then her attacking Yolanda Adams gave bullying vibes. So it's like, you're mad at her for what you said? Nick, you hit the nail on the head. You can't be mad at nobody, girl. Tamara Hall should have said, makeup, and brought a mirror.
Something.
Come on. Stand on. If you're gonna stand on it, stand on everything. And you can't blame somebody else for not co-signing for you. I'm sorry, I'm not a part of your camp. And I am that person, real talk. If you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. If you want me to have your back, I'll have your back, but I'm going to tell you this. And I'm like, you wrong. This how much I have your back. You should have ran that past me first. You should have read your crowd. How about that? And, and it's like, oh, okay, you talking about somebody ugly when they got on the church hat. Y'all wearing them church hats because you ugly. Ma'am, you look like a minion. Y'all know I'm a work in progress and I'm going to keep on going. Like, you got those glasses. They don't work for you. One of her friends in her camp, Yolanda, you should have told her that. Those glasses don't work for you, boo. You know what I mean? Everybody has choices. Yep. Now, let's go move on to the Jeffrey Dahmer story. We got to unpack this. Now, here we go. Now, this is kind of insensitive. The TikTok videos. So they have it on Netflix, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. And there's TikTok videos of people that's wearing the blonde wigs. And they got red cups. Because if you watched it, he's throwing back beers. Now, this one was so insensitive. I said, you know what? I cannot. And it was a black guy. He had a wig on. And he had his red cups with a whole bunch of different cups. Telling him, I ain't got nobody to drink with. I ate them all. That was his thing. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, these people are always making light of serious things. Now, when I watched it, and it's some controversy because some people feel like, oh, okay, well, this is bringing up, for the family members that's still alive, this is bringing up those memories because they lost someone. But when I watched it, and I didn't see any of the other ones, this is the one that I actually watched, I thought it was for the victims because that's how I felt. I didn't feel like, oh, okay, he was a hero in no way, shape, form, or fashion. What I saw was letting people know that his victims were good people. And the way that it was depicted, you saw, it was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a creep. These are good people that she's trying to live their life, had no idea what was coming. And to me, when you look at things like that, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call to be like, okay, when you just going home with somebody, you never know. You know what I mean? So I looked at it that way, and then I'll finish my commentary in a second. I want to hear from you guys. What's your thoughts on it? Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't had a chance to watch any TV lately.
Okay. What about you, Amber? Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it, but I've heard people talking about the social media response. I think what I've read and seen is that people do feel like it was very tastefully done. It was respectfully done towards the victims and the victims' families. But then the social media and the TikToks, that's a different story. And so that's what I've heard about. And then just as far as people being insensitive, talking about like you originally said, like they were good people, they were innocent people, but like how they were lured with like child predator techniques, like very kind of, what's the word?
$100. He was offering $100 to take pictures.
Right. And like rudimentary, like very rudimentary, very basic, like I'm a creep. And they still went with him, right? And he targeted a certain demographic of people, and then
gays, gays, because
right, and a lot of black men, from what I understand.
It was, but it was a lot of white too.
Yeah,
and some people were under the impression that it was just blacks, and it wasn't. And they were gay, and was it targeted? I don't think so. Let me tell you why. Because he was gay. So if he was straight, there probably would have been straight guys. And all of them weren't gay. All of them weren't gay because there was one guy, real talking, it was one guy that was in a car and his car wouldn't start after he left the bar. And he went to the guy and he was like, oh, I live right around the corner. If you want to come over there and then I'll get my car and then I'll give you a jump. That was that one. Black guy was like, no, I'm cool. I'll stay right here. That's what we do. I'll stay in the car. Well, he said it was a bad neighborhood. So that's how he got lured there. He said, it's a bad neighborhood. Make sure you lock the door, blah, 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 blah. So then he goes over there. He asks him if he wants a drink. Spoiler alert. He asked him if he wants a drink. He said no. The guy, he didn't want anything to drink. He said, well, how about some coffee? So he made some coffee and he drugged them. So he was drugging these people to become, where he can actually take over them. But in this particular one, grandma comes down because, grandma's going to be grandma. Grandma comes down, was like, what's wrong with him? And he was like, oh, he's trash. And grandma knew something was going on. And grandma said, well, I'm going to sit right down here with him. You go ahead and go to bed. I'm going to sit down here with him until he wakes up. So grandma saved him, and she knew that something was going on. She, knew that something was a little weird. And it comes out that he had abandonment issues. Now, let me tell you how good God is. When you watch that, when I watched it, I wasn't creeped out because I've always been interested in the mind. I've always been interested in the mind. And let me tell you, this is what it'll tell you. I had empathy for him. And this is at the end, right? Like, Mel, how you have empathy? Listen, God is good. Because I was like, out of all the terrible things he did, once he gave his life to Christ, and I was pissed off about it, because I'm like, he shouldn't have, you know what I mean? You have those thoughts. And then when the end happened, I was empathetic. I was like, oh man, all these issues cause this. And yes, I still feel bad for the families big time. I do. But I was like, oh my gosh, I got empathy. Like, man, talk about forgiving. You know what I mean? Like, I have a forgiving heart knowing what he actually did. Now, the way that the movie was done, and it was well done, it showed how nobody takes us serious. He ended up moving to a predominantly black neighborhood, and it was ideal for him. It was ideal because you call the police, they don't show. You know what I mean? They don't believe. It's like, oh, wait. So all these things were happening. You had one nosy neighbor. Miss Bernice was up in the spot. Okay.
Why y'all gotta use Bernice though?
Her name. Yeah.
But I know why Miss Bernice. Yes.
Yeah, that Miss Bernice and Miss Bernice. Miss Bernice. Yeah, Miss Bernice was a character in my play, and she was the nosy neighbor. And you had that neighbor that was constantly saying, hey, and nobody was believing her. So that shows how, like you said, a certain demographic. It showed how nobody took us serious, and look what happened.
Right. But then to tie it into right now, modern times, you're not taking yourself serious. People out here making jokes of this is a horrific tragedy that it affected so many people.
Yes.
I mean, it's sick and just horrible. And you're making jokes about it when your demographic is the victim. And then a part of why, like you just said, he was able to go on for so long and do so many things is because nobody takes it seriously. Now you're going to add on to that by not taking yourself seriously. So then you can't be mad when nobody takes you seriously, when you're not taking your own injustices and victimization seriously.
True.
Everything's not a joke.
Right. And that's it. That's it. So like I said, we have these TikToks and all this stuff going on. You're like, oh man, that's crazy. It is a tragedy. And it's like, when it happens to you, is that when you take it serious? Let's talk about this, because a lot of people feel like that movie shouldn't have come out and blah, 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 blah. But to me, everything is a lesson. Do you remember, Nick? I don't know if you do, Amber D. The Atlanta child murders.
Yes.
I remember that. So the Atlanta child murders, it was someone in Atlanta, in the hood, killing young girls, little kids. And I remember my aunt asking me, she was like, yeah, come down, sit her down for the summer. I looked at my mother like, I ain't going to Atlanta.
Like, no.
This is what's happening in Atlanta. And no lie, this is what's funny. And not that situation. But I saw somebody that looked like the actor on there up in Ohio. So I'm like this, I ain't going up there to Union Square no more because that person looked familiar, not realizing as a child. Because I was like, that's the child murder, not realizing it was an actor. You know what I mean? But I learned from that. Watching that, as a child, I learned from that. I was like, oh, I'm not going there. Oh, stranger danger. But in this case, with the Atlanta child murders, there was one instance where the man went inside the home and took the child out of her bed while she was sleeping. Guess what that did? Make sure the windows is locked. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I learned, and some people feel like, well, they shouldn't have played that again. It's just, to me,
it's a part of history. It's something that everyone needs to see so that you can continuously be aware. And of course, we're at the age where we get copycats now, and you never know when some jackass is going to try it again. Be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Even that, and that's a shame that you have to be on alert even in your own home. But be aware.
Yeah, you definitely want to be aware. And you're right, the copycat syndrome. Now, there's some viewers and listeners that say they can't bring themselves to watch it. I get it. I do. I get it. I didn't look at it. I don't like scary movies. I don't watch scary movies. I'm not going to watch a scary movie. You like scary movies? See, I'm not going to watch it. But I didn't look at it
I never liked them when I was younger. But now, yes, I will watch a scary movie in a minute and then be psyching myself out all doggone night.
Amber, do you want to read the comment?
Okay, so Samara DJ Smee Turns from Facebook said, I think a lot of people were upset the families of the victims found out about the movie when we did. Ugh.
And that's horrific.
That's horrible.
That's horrific. I still feel, they said there was so many other ones, but I never watched that. But when you bring up the copycat, Nick, you know, you have some people that are nuts. But see, guess what though? Those copycats, it brings awareness to those copycats. Like, these people really, you know what I mean, really like this guy. And especially with social media. So you look at those people that's making fun of this and be like, I know not to kick it with you. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you feed off of. And I don't look at it as a trophy for him at all. I don't. I look at it as, this is a lesson. These people are out here. People are people. And everyone means you no good. You know, everyone doesn't mean you good. Right. So you have to be careful. I do know when I was watching it, when Jeffrey Dahmer was speaking and he was telling his story, when he was talking and interviewing him, he gave them closure. He gave them closure. I know y'all like, Mel, what the heck is that? They're gone. He gave them closure. All of the people, he wanted to be loved, wanted to feel like, okay, people have, you know, people did this for me. Like, his grandmother had a box, and in the box, she had his dad's, all of his winnings, like ribbons and pictures when he was little, paraphernalia, all of his stuff, his keepsakes. He ended up keeping all of their driver's license, the people that he actually killed, because they weren't going to find him, because remember, he ate them. So you knew what was going on instead of always waiting for that knock on the door. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he did do that. He did say he was sick. His dad was saying, they tried to say that he was insane, where he couldn't stand trial. He was like, no. He was like, I know what I was doing. So he said exactly, you know, what he was doing. He was like, no, I can stand trial. So he told them, but the moral of the story is abandonment, neglect, the mother dipped. Not that it's okay. We got to find better ways to cope. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up to bring us right here today. How many people have issues coping? How many youth do we have now that have issues with coping? Mm-hmm. Not to say that, you know, it's going to be some little Jeffrey Dahmers going around, but we got to say, hey, wait a minute. Go ahead, Amber. Do what you got. You look like you want something.
I mean, yeah. I mean, even though, no, like you said, there may not be Jeffrey Dahmers, but I think there is a big increase in like narcissism and like, you know, having apathy towards other people, like a lack of empathy. No, there may not be Jeffrey Dahmers running around, but there is a problem culturally of people not coping well and then carrying that in all, and then, creating this toxic environment and carrying all that toxicity and that, unhealthy coping into their adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a comment, and I want to address it for the listening audience. Kim from Facebook said, did he ever confess as to why he did it? It was an urge, and he couldn't help it. And that's what he said. He didn't want to, but he did. And as soon as he was trying to stop, he had a mannequin. And this mannequin, grandma found it in his bed and threw it out. And it makes me wonder if that mannequin was there. He said that the mannequin stopped his urges. And so now he just made mannequins, I guess. And it's a little different, but back to what you were saying, Amber D, the narcissism, the coping, these issues that these children are having, and we're just saying, medicate them. We're just saying, oh, they'll be all right, and not addressing the issues. Like I said, I'm not saying your child gonna be a little Jeffrey Dahmer, but you don't know, because that's what happened to him. Mom was like, I'm out. Mom straight up was like, I'm out. And he had no food. He had nothing. So it makes you wonder. But I will say this. Dad said that he had those urges, but he suppressed them. So, and he said that I'm the one that I gave this to you. So, but Dad was dissecting animals and stuff like that. He did humans. So you gotta, if you see that there's an issue and you're afraid to talk to your child, your grandchild, or to say, hey, your child needs some help, you don't know the outcome. I say, if you see it as a child, address these issues right now, because a lot of people don't want their child. No, they don't need no psychiatric help. They don't need to see a counselor. They're not crazy. Come on, people. Go ahead. What you got?
I actually was just in my line of work. I was actually just speaking to a parent who, she kind of like low key ran up on me, but she needed to vent, and is a guardianship dynamic.
Okay.
And so basically, she said she's a grandmother of grandmother age, and she's like, I raised 4 kids, and they were all close together. And she said they was a handful. It was a whole lot, but I raised them, and they're okay, and they turned out normal. She has custody of her grandson. And she's like, it's just really nice. I want to hug this particular person because they're going through the same thing I'm going through. Because she said, lack of a better word, I feel like, he's a demon child. And, I just don't know what to do. And I can only imagine what he went through to get to this point to be in her custody. And then, she doesn't know. She's starting to feel hopeless, like it wasn't going to get better. And, he could grow up to be a little Jeffrey Dahmer, basically. And so, she was getting him help, but just also, I feel like there's an isolation element to it where it's like, okay, first of all, as a mother, especially if it's like your biological child, to say that about your child, I feel like there's judgment from society. Like, oh my, like you're not a good mother. Why would you say that about your kid? But, if you're observing things, ignoring it is only going to make it worse.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like when you do speak up and say, okay, I'm concerned, I have some, reservations or whatever, then there's not a lot of support. You really have to, even in like medical issues, you really have to advocate for yourself. You have to be willing to be a trailblazer for yourself or for your child, because so I feel like it's like a social thing to say, okay, I'm a little bit concerned about this child. And then also it's like an infrastructure thing. Like, is there enough support of mental health services for children?
That's a good question. Is there?
Yeah.
Is there, or are we just ignoring it?
I think it's being ignored. It really is. Because a lot of parents know that their children need help, and they're ignoring it, or they don't want to make their child seem crazy, or they don't want to, but sometimes you have to bring attention to that, because then they turn into an adult and they're a big bully. They are in jail because they done killed somebody or just anything. So like any little inkling of something, you have to bring attention to it. Take them to talk to somebody. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. Our folks do not like to seek counseling because they feel like they don't want nobody in your business. But then you turn around and later on in life talk about free so-and-so. Well, maybe if you would have got so-and-so some help when they were small and you saw something wrong, we wouldn't be talking about free so-and-so now.
Right. And like Mel was saying, they ignore it hoping it will go away or they'll quote unquote grow out of it. And like you said,
they don't.
Maybe they're not going to become Jeffrey Dahmer, but more than likely they're going to grow up to be toxic, dysfunctional, a bad actor, and terrorizing other people, women and children usually, as an adult. And it's like, you're okay with that? Because as long as he's not Jeffrey Dahmer and he's not eating people, it's okay for this child that you have guardianship of, that you are responsible for, to grow up into an adult that's going to terrorize their own community. Yeah.
That's it. They're not as bad as this person, so we're all good.
No, you're not.
Not okay.
You're good when that child grows up to be a productive, law-abiding citizen. Period, point blank, end of conversation. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, and then nowadays, we're hollering because the police are taking our children senselessly, killing them senselessly. But it's like, even if they are law-abiding citizens, we have to worry about that. But you worry about it even more when you know your child is doing something they don't have no business doing, and you really counseling. There's nothing wrong with Black folks getting counseling. Like, you don't want nobody in your business. Pay somebody to be in your business. They don't know you from Adam's house cat, so therefore they can sit there and they can tell you and look. They're on the outside looking in. They're not in your camp, so they can tell you what's going on. Mm-hmm. That's what they get paid for. That's what they went to school for. There is nothing wrong with seeking help.
Okay, go ahead, Amber. What you have to say?
I would just say as a part, and I think as far as like that parent-child dynamic, a part of it is there are also parents who will refuse, who will never abandon their child. Shun them, disown them. So their child could be a teenager, so not of age, but an older child, and they're running the streets or selling drugs or, B&Es, whatever. They're doing stuff they ain't got no business doing. They're being criminal. They're being criminals. And then you still got they mamas, they aunties, they grandmas. Well, we just got to pray for him. And, hopefully it's going to get right. Couldn't be me. Because I would disown you. I don't know you. I don't know you ain't live out of my house because you might rob me. And I think there's a lot of coddling. There's a lot of excuses in that period where they're like adolescent into adulthood. And that's when those behaviors and the personality stuff in like the kindergarten level manifests into behaviors. And then it's behaviors and, there's consequences, but because they're not 18, it's not gonna permanently affect them. And so even then when they're like in that teenage years, you still have people making excuses for that behavior and ignoring it and wishing it away.
Okay, let's go to the comments. Amber, do you want to read all of that?
Samira DJ Smeech Hearns of Facebook said, the biggest issue even with taking your kid to a counselor is the parent doesn't know the whys and the fix. The counselor is trying to figure out the whys and fix, and early on, the kids is trying to figure it out too and doesn't know what to say. Counseling goes nowhere, and parents give up looking at wasted time and money instead of sticking it out. That kid will eventually speak.
Okay.
I think that's
right. They will eventually speak to the counselor on their time, of course, but that's why you have to stick out to counseling, because the child will eventually let the counselor know what's going on, what their issue is. You have to be willing to stick it out. and not consider it wasted time or wasted money. You have to be willing. If you want to get to the root of the problem with your child and figure out what's going on and why, you got to keep going, because like you said, that baby is going to eventually speak, and then you can fix the issue from there.
And I think that people that aren't, like Nick said, people that are not familiar with counseling and talk therapy don't understand that it's a slow process. It's not, you're not going to do 2 sessions and be like, okay, this is what's wrong and this is what I need to do. It doesn't work like that. And as the commentator said, you do have to be willing to put that time in and understand that it's going to take time and it's going to take money. But it'll be worth it in the end. But I think there's just like a lot of misunderstanding about like how therapy and how counseling works.
Okay. Yeah. I agree 110%. Look, I agree 110%. You have to give them time, because first they have to build trust. Mm-hmm. And let's be real, a lot of the issues are the parents. So how do you go and say, when you have teachers, let's be real, who says, okay, is your parent doing this? If they're doing that, call 911. Let's call the authorities to take you away from your parents. So this child loves their parent. They don't want their parent to get in trouble. So they're
so they don't say anything.
They'll cover for their parent, and nothing is being done. Okay. You want it, Nick?
Yes, Samira also says some of these kids don't know how to put it into words yet. We have adults that take a while to know what their actual issue is. Exactly. So you have to give these babies, like I said, you have to give these babies time. Let them figure it out. They'll eventually let you know, but you got to give them time. It takes time. It might take a year or two. It might take a couple of years, but keep plugging at it. You'll finally get to the root of the issue so you can start fixing it.
Now watch this. Sometimes it takes adults time. That's because they done dealt with something in their childhood
that was never
addressed. So you just keep the cameras rolling, and it's like, okay, eventually they'll go ahead and, outgrow it. No, this is an issue.
Right.
This is an issue. Go ahead. What you got?
So 2 points. I want to say that first, like you said, the outgrowing it mentality is so unrealistic when we as adults are aware that we know 30, 40, 50-year-olds that are still struggling with their childhood trauma.
Yes.
So why would you think, if you're thinking critically, you're like, no, you're not going to outgrow it, because that's not how childhood trauma works. So, and then the second part of it is that, just as personally, there was things that I didn't become aware of until I was 25, 30. And I feel like I'm someone who really is an advocate of reflection and introspection and all that good stuff. And it took me a long time to figure out my own stuff. So how are you going to have these high unrealistic expectations for a child to have self-awareness? And after 1 month of therapy, this should be done. No.
So tell me, so let's come up with a solution. Do we still be do we still become Glenda Cleveland? Glenda Cleveland was the one that kept saying there's something going on, and she did not give up. She kept saying it. The problem is the police, the ones that were supposed to protect and serve, failed her. So do we continue, or do we just go in our house and close our door and say, okay, that's their problem?
No, you have to continue.
You have to continue.
Yeah. I think that people think that being a good person or doing what's right is easy. I know we've talked about this before, but no, doing what's right is usually very hard. It's discouraging. It's time consuming. It's expensive. It's isolating. Doing the right thing is never easy. It's always just God.
Right.
But what about that parent that you can't speak to their child? How do you say, listen, I done seen your child and they out there throwing that cat around? You
got some parents that want to cuss you out if you even breathe high to the child. That's where the issue is right there. That parent.
I have a theory.
Number one.
Go ahead with your theory. What's your theory?
The parent views the child, and this happens a lot, especially in ethnic communities, where the parent views the child as an extension of themselves. So therefore, any critique of the child is a critique on them. So they're very sensitive and very defensive when someone says anything undesirable about their child. So so when parents get really defensive about other people correcting or pointing out things about their child, it's usually ego-driven.
Okay, and like I said, now we know where the root of that problem is in that child. It's that parent.
But here's the thing.
With that parent.
And you hit the nail on the head, and it's the truth. It's the truth, because how often have we heard your child is a reflection of you? I'm the first one to be like, that's that other side. I'm quick on that. I'm like, no. Listen, I'm like, So, so there's some truth to it, because it is an ego thing. Or you have people that'll say, oh, your child gonna be, and you be like, I know you ain't talking about my child. And you get very defensive. So there's some things that you'll actually put up with. But once you start talking about your child, they're like, now listen, I done put up with this long enough. You're not getting ready to inflict that pain on my child, because I know how I felt. Now, how many times have we heard, oh yeah, you might want to get them checked. They're a little nuts.
And too many times.
Right. Because listen, I am one that'll tell you, I'll be like, oh, and even, let me tell you this. I'm going to be flat out transparent. When I was watching the movie, I actually had children in my head that he reminded me of. I did. And I thought it was just me. And I was like, man, I should be having those thoughts. But I know that child.
Yeah.
And I spoke to other people, because we all about the psyche, psychology. And they were like, yeah, I know somebody in my family like that too. So that's why I said it's really not a scary movie. It's a reality check. It's a reality check. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And you're grateful that child, that's now an adult, that I was like, ooh, end up being okay. You know what I'm saying? You want to read that comment, Amber D?
Yes. Samara DJ Sweet Turns of Facebook said, and stop being disappointed over your child's mental conditions on their face. You got to build them up in spite of. Speak life into them.
Exactly.
I completely agree. And I feel like when people have, so Kim Richardson of Facebook said, I cannot stand when a kid do something outright ridiculous and the parent says, oh, I was just like that at their age. Eye emoji. When is the curse to be broken? Exactly.
Correct. Exactly.
Now, listen, I'm with that one. I'm with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just because you did it as a child, that don't make it okay.
Okay, wait. Don't make you okay today.
Right.
Like, be like, oh, well, then you don't see nothing wrong? But a lot of people don't see anything wrong until it's pointed out. But America, we have become so sensitive that it's like, oh, okay, well, I can't speak about her child. Oh, I can't tell her this. We got to be able to say what you see. Say what you see. And that's how you build balls. Sorry. We'll do this. Since I don't have a bell where I'm at, okay, in the VA. But that's how you build character. And you have to set boundaries. And that's what I see is missing. Setting boundaries. But here's the thing. So even in a professional realm, poor teachers. So it's like, oh, okay, these parents want boundaries, but the teachers can't have boundaries. Something's wrong. And they'll be like, oh, why are you picking on my child? Why are you? Come on. Go ahead, Amber D.
The talking, the letter to the teacher.
Yes.
Perfect example. Perfect example.
Yes, the teacher talking about talking about some. That was a subtle threat.
Right. It was. Yeah, and then that was a great example. Like Nick said, okay, we know who the problem is. It's the parent. And a lot of times in K-12, not always, not like, especially when you're talking about like these like really high level behaviors, it is the parent. When you have a child who's exhibiting mild or moderate behavioral issues, usually a big part of it is the parent and the household dynamic. What is going on in that home? It's not like the kids. Usually, sometimes I do like we were talking about with Dahmer. It's genetic, having a, what is it? I can't think of the word, but it starts with a P. But predisposed disposition to do something, having urges or whatever. That can be genetic, but whether you act on them or if it becomes greater, has a lot to do with the nurture and like the home environment. And if it's not super way up here severe, lower level or moderate level behavioral issues with children, it's usually the parent. It's the parent. Yeah.
And for a long time, we have been blaming the father not being in the home. And I look back and I'm like, okay, the father's not in the home. Well, back in the day, if we take it all the way back, the father was the breadwinner, so he wasn't in the home then either. Exactly. Working 12 hours, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta, instead of making excuses, let's take accountability for the role that we play or the person that was in the home. In his case, nobody was home. Now, you could take it all the way back to the latchkey child. And how many of us were latchkey children?
Themselves. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, let's look a little deeper. It's like, this is the reason, that's the reason. It can be so many excuses. Excuses are monuments of nothing. What does it get you? It doesn't get you anything, because once you pile up those excuses, what good is it? We need to see some results.
Yes.
We need to see results. And the only way you can see results is holding people accountable and being honest with them. So that's why I said I got to give it to Kim Burrell. I do. She was like, this is who I am. And once we accept people for who they are trying to say, and I'm not saying that she's some mass murderer or anything like that. But when you see it, can we call a spade, or we're not allowed to do that anymore?
Right. And then,
if you say spade now, then I guess it's some kind related to some kind of medical disability term or something.
I'm talking about spades and cards. Jesus, the Lamb of God.
Of course. We know that. That we grew up saying that, but now they want to even pick on, if you're saying that, let's call a spade a spade. They made Beyonce change a whole song talking about
the word was spaz.
Spaz.
The word was spaz, yeah.
I was going to go off on that one. Okay, but still, spaz. We grew up saying spaz, and now you can't say spaz. Why?
Yeah, we did grow up saying, somebody
about your disability.
But here's the thing: when you use it, context clues let you know that meant somebody was spazzing out, crazy, air quotes from my listening audience. So it kind of, I understand where they were going with that, but I'm like, spade, hold on, wait a second. Yeah, Nick was about to go in, like, we can't even say call a spade a spade.
Sorry, y'all. I was going to go off on a tangent on that one. Sorry, let me scale it back a little bit.
Bring it on back.
But I did want to point out, like, when you were talking about being able to point stuff out, like with other adults, even, like you were saying, like with Kim Burrell, yeah, you can be in disagreement with like what she was saying, but you can choose to like distance yourself. And as far as like children with mental health issues, I feel like you should be treated like one of the commenters was saying on Facebook. Like, you got to speak life into that child, because I don't believe all children are like a lost cause just because they might have a mental health issue. Mm-hmm. But like, they're on the precipice. You know what I'm saying? It could go either way. So when you're dealing with a child who's mentally sitting the fence, you definitely want to push them to the right side and not just like, well, you're sitting on the fence, so we know you're going to fall to the bad side, so we're just going to, not even bother with you or shun them. And I feel like young children with like mental health issues should be treated like other children that have medical issues or addictions, because something else recently I learned was that a lot of these kids, they don't actually have mental health issues. It's like it's a disorder from basically being a crack baby, like.
Okay.
So it's like they can't even help themselves because their brain was rewired in utero. So it's like, oh, okay, he's acting out. Okay, he's flipping out. He literally can't help himself.
Okay. The parent.
Okay.
Exactly. Back to the parent.
Back to the parent. But watch this. But watch this. When you say they can't help themselves, probably to a certain extent, but you can suppress some things because all of us have been affected by something. All of us. And I know a child who had Tourette's. I do. And this, and I'm going to speak culturally. Okay. In Black homes, we were having this conversation. In Black homes, you can have somebody who has a disability, but we as Black people will be like, and you'll find that person being the best person they can be with that disability that you'll forget. And it's like, oh, wait, they're high functioning. Because you have that person to be like, oh, you ain't going to be making all that noise up here. And then they may stop with the Tourette's and you might get one every, I don't know, hour or so. Be like, oh, I know if I go up there blurting stuff out, I'm going to get cussed out. You know what I'm saying? And when we were having this conversation, I said, you know what? You are right, because you do have people who suffer from disabilities and they are the bomb. And I'm not going to say the name. The one child I'll never forget came in and I was working at Easter Seals. I can say that. Shout out to Easter Seals. I was working there and this child came in and I was like, oh my gosh, it was a walker the whole nine. I was so concerned because I was like, oh, wait. Threw that walker to the side and was down there wrestling. But they were at home all the time. And it was like, when I say no fear. So was doing everything to the best of his ability that even, he was the cool kid. Air quotes, to the listening audience. He was a cool kid. It was like, boom, everybody knew him. Boom, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. And you knew. There was one who had an issue who was, they said, oh, they won't be able to speak. They won't be able to walk. Listen, our people, they walking. And I guess they used to have a drooling issue. And the family said, and these are true examples, people. The family was like, oh, no, you ain't going to be out here eating with us slobbing. Listen, I was like, oh, my gosh, Guess what? I bet you they out there feeding themselves, not slobbering. So there's boundaries.
Yeah. And
then you have those people who are so sensitive. It's like you said, Amber, oh, they can't help it. Yeah, even if you have an issue, an impulse issue, you could control it as much as you can.
As much as you can.
As much as you can, where you be like, okay, let me control it. And that's where I was going with the Tourette syndrome, which was in my family. Like, we about to go to the library and you're coming and we're not going to do that. And guess what? Is that being insensitive? Clearly it worked. Because guess what? They stopped. Now, after we left the library, oh, they were yakking all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
It was probably on the popping there.
Right, it was on the, like, get them all out. You know what I'm saying? But
darn it, I was doing good.
Yeah, but you'll be like, whoo, release.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm going to let it out now.
Right, boom, okay, done. But you have to have boundaries. And what's happening is everybody is so sensitive that everybody's so sensitive that it's like, no, we have to do this. And we're coddling. Like the whole everybody gets a trophy. No.
Only those that worked hard and deserve it. Those
work harder.
First place, second place, and even third. If you came in fifth, I'm sorry. You work harder. Okay. That's when you speak life into them and say, it's okay. Exactly. Just work harder and we'll work harder on it. And maybe point out, or do you know where you might have lacked? Well, we'll work on that. Just
right. And let's
speak life into them.
And let's be clear. Do you really want the reward if it was given?
Exactly.
And not earned?
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't want that. They'd be like, oh, okay, we got this, and you get an award, and you get an award, and a reward for what? I don't just need another piece of paper. I want to earn it. And that's what's happening now, even with like the award shows or in the area. It's like, okay, well, I'm getting ready to put on this event and I'm going to honor these people at my event. What am I getting honored for? You know what I mean?
Walking across the street.
Doing what you're supposed to do. What's expected? What's expected? Like my sister always said, she was like, I'm not getting ready to praise a fish for swimming. That's what you do.
Right. That's what you're supposed to do.
So how do we get back to where we were? Some of these advancements are good, but some of them is because they didn't get a trophy. That's real talk. And as a child, you didn't get a trophy, and now you become an adult. Now you're like, you know what? We're going to change these rules. Everybody gets a trophy. And then what do you have? Old sensitive America.
Oh, sensitive America. Yeah.
So, I was bullied as a child, so now I'm a police and I'm going to bully everybody else.
I'm going to put this badge on, and now guess what? I get to tell you what to do.
Exactly.
What's wrong? Should we be able to speak our truth? Or do we have to bite our tongue?
I want to say also...
Everybody be making me bite my tongue. Y'all already know, because y'all know I have no filter. I'm going to say, if it come to my mind, I'm going to say it. But even on my page, I be having people like, take that down, do this. No!
No, why?
I'm 51 years old. Why is y'all trying to make me suppress what I got to say? Yeah, I'm a victim of that. I ain't even gonna lie.
Now listen to this. Now, last week we talked about social media being like the diary, because that's what I named it. I was like, is this like, what are we doing here? You know, is this like a diary? You spilling your whole life? Like, what's happening? With somebody coming on your page telling you to take something down.
Or inbox.
Okay, but they're telling you to take it down because they're offended?
Or that don't look right, or you don't want everybody in your... It's always something when it come to me. I can't say something, I can't post, but everybody else can do it, and it's so funny when everybody else do it, but when I do it, it's like, y'all are still treating me like I'm a child. I'm 51 years old. You're not going to keep telling me what I should... Hell, my mama and daddy couldn't control my mouth. What make me think that would make y'all think y'all gonna do it now that they gone? Hello.
Now, I will say this. I am guilty of inboxing, or I'll actually text the person. If I know their professional position and I know that you're upset or something like that, and you put that there, I'm like, be careful. You hear me tell you, Nick. I'm like, don't say no names. You know what I mean? To protect yourself and your future. I'm always looking out for the future. And I'll say, you don't want to do that, because here's the thing. People do look, and because of old sensitive America, people will go call the job. That's why y'all won't see my job posted nowhere. Okay. Boom. You ain't gonna see my badge with my name. It's going to be flipped if I got it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to get upset with something that I might say here on this platform. And you're like, oh, well, this is the type of person that they are. Mm-hmm. You know, or, well, that doesn't look good. Or if you're talking about your job, and this is where you get your, you know, this is where your bread is buttered, you might not want to do that. Don't say the name. You know what I mean? So I will say something that way, because I don't want you to mess up your future. Go ahead, Amber D.
I also wanted to add to that, we're talking about allowing people to speak their truth. On the episode where we covered why I sleep with download married men, and how you brought that up, where, okay, we're not kidding us. We as women, heterosexual women, we want these men to feel comfortable enough to live in their truth, so that we, just like with Kim Burrell, so we can avoid them. But if you're encouraging people to suppress their true feelings and their true desires and how they truly are and their true selves, then you're going to get an unpleasant surprise later on down the road. Mm-hmm. So allowing people to be true to themselves is not just for them, to coddle them, to protect them, to stifle yourself, but it's to protect you so that you can know who you're actually dealing with, whether it's someone who has an unpleasant unpleasant energy and they're a bully, or whether it's a person who has closeted homosexual urges. People be them.
Yeah, allow them to be them.
Encourage them to just be honest, okay? Just keep.
So I can make a conscious decision.
Exactly. So I can make a conscious decision about what I want to entertain in my life, you know?
And I think that's fair.
Yep.
I think that's fair. That's why I was like, I got it. Kudos to her for standing on what she said, because that's exactly what she said. She was like, well, I know my intent. You know your intent and other people don't. And that's the issue. When we say things, people project that we know, that you know the intent. You don't know the intent of someone before you decide to go and cancel somebody. It's unfair. It's totally unfair. So what do we do? How do we bring it back? Everybody be rude again?
No, I think we should just focus on boundaries and just like, okay, you didn't like something. You can just tune out and shut it out and reject it out of your personal life. You don't have to go on a crusade to cancel that person because, like with Kim Burrell, if it's meant to be, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who feel exactly how you do. And it will take care, the universe will balance itself and take care of itself. I'm trying to think of a good example of like being unfairly canceled from cancel culture. I feel like there's a lot, but just focus on, I think, encouraging individuality, people just being accountable to themselves and focusing on what they can control, which is like who you allow into your space and time and energy and who you don't.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I hope it balances itself out quick because I'm about tired of this. And you guys sit there and be like, just kind of like when Nick was talking about with Beyonce, she had to change her whole lyric and she didn't understand that because some people were sensitive to it. And it's like, okay, I'm not being insensitive. I'm just saying, I'm using it as an analogy or, a metaphor for how your mind gonna be blown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's insensitive. You shouldn't say that because this is for this. Every single word, and here's the thing, every single word has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have where people are taking, not in that case because we knew what that meaning was, but we have taken. Remember, it was a time where we couldn't say crazy, and it was like, oh, don't say crazy. Don't say. Every word has a meaning, and then you have people who are adopting words that are already in existence and making it mean something else. And it's like, wait a minute, how you just going to adopt that and then this is what it means?
And then get mad if I'm still using it in the context that it was in the first place.
That's how it was with those scarves. Remember the Bloods and the Crips scarves? That's what we do now. And it's like, wait, that wasn't the Bloods and the Crips scarves. That was just a head scarf. And I used to rock it because I used to rock it with the painter pants. You remember the painter pants? Ow! Mm-hmm. The white painter pants, and I used to tie my scarf on there. And I'm dating myself. And then all of a sudden, you and the gang. No, I'm wearing red and white. Like
it's fashion.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then you take it and you adopt it. And now this is what it means. I.e. the rainbow. So the rainbow, like, boom, I was rocking the rainbow. I remember the Care Bears, like, I like colors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, wait a minute, what? So the rainbow, that mean I'm gay? Like, wait a minute. No, I like the rainbow. And guess what? I'm still rocking the rainbow, but I don't be rocking those scarves no more because I ain't about that life. So I ain't about that red, blue light. I ain't about that life. But the rainbows, I'm still rocking it. You think what you want to think. How you doing? I just met somebody else. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page. Okay? With my rainbow colors on, all right? I'm like, we got people are just adopting things. And it's like, okay, this is what it means. What do you mean this is what it means? Like, help me out. For a minute, and then in a minute, they about to be like, okay, if your teeth white, then that mean you this. That mean my hygiene good. That mean I don't like yellow teeth. How do you just adopt something that is and make it your own? Create your own and then go forward. Go ahead. I'm all about creating your own.
I want to say Mean Girls. I think think it was Mean Girls, where she was like, the head mean girl was like, stop saying fetch. It's not going to happen. No, it's not fetch. Like you can't just make up words and try to make them stick culturally.
Right. It's like create your own, make up your own, and then move forward with that and let it catch trend. Not take something that already is. Where's the creativity? Take something that already is and saying, okay, this is what it is. And then you want us to rally around. Not okay. Not okay. Now, I want to put this out here. You know the student loan forgiveness?
Yeah.
Well, it's a change, lovely people. It's a change. So y'all better check it out. So if you had a student loan, it was like FFEF, like from way back when. I don't remember that. But if you had a student loan way back, and then you have the direct loan before, and you guys check it out to make sure that I'm not misinterpreting it. President Biden before was like it could be combined to be forgiven. Well, now I think as of yesterday, because I just seen it, it just came across. They're like, no, they're not forgiving that. The old loans. And I want to say it's up to like $10,000. So those old loans would be forgiven. Loans back then aren't what loans are right now. So check that out. If you like, okay, wait a minute, you said it was going to be forgiven. Now it's not. They just reversed it. And I want to say within the last 2 days because it just came across. So you guys check that out. Now there was a guy, I can't remember where he was at. I was trying to find it. That's what I was doing, guys. Where he was on the camera, the doorbell camera ring, caught this guy. He was going door to door selling whatever he was selling. That's what I was trying to find. And he went up to the black guy. He went to his house and he had the nerve to say, did you see it?
I saw it.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us about it, Amber D. Tell us about it.
Yeah, he was a door-to-door salesman, but they still work. I get a lot of door-to-door salesmen in my neighborhood, but he was selling, I think, home security or solar power or something like that for houses. And so he goes up to the door, knocks on it. The homeowner opens the door, and he was like, "Hi, yeah, me and my company, Bloopy Blue, we're going around neighborhoods just talking in N-words." He's like, "No, I'm sorry, neighbors."
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it just rolled off so flawlessly. So
all right.
I mean,
wait. I'm getting ready to play it, and this I caught it off of Roland Martin's show. Let's see if I can get it because I need you guys to hear it. Let's see. He rings the doorbell. And here we go.
Hello. Sorry. Hey, how you doing? Hey, sorry to bother you. I'm Fernando. I work for Peak Energy. We're a few doors down. We're in 1845. Okay. So we do solar around here. We're just coming around talking to neighbors. Sorry, dude. Neighbors. I apologize, man.
Okay, did you guys hear it?
Don't apologize. It came off too smooth and too natural. Don't apologize now.
Okay.
Door slammed in the face. Bye.
And do you think he got the sale?
No.
Now, you see how smooth that came? He meant to say neighbors, and he said, we're talking to niggers. Now, that was interesting, wasn't it? Wait, I'm trying to let it go back. Hold on. He rings the doorbell.
Didn't go say sorry, dude. Dog.
Here you go. Hold on.
You said that too flawlessly.
flawless.
Yeah, he said that, didn't he? Come on, hurry up. I'm trying to get it to come on one more time.
Hello. Sorry. Hey, how you doing? Hey, sorry to bother you. I'm Fernando. I work for Peak Energy. We're a few doors down. We're in 1845. Okay. So we do solar around here. We're just coming around talking to niggers. Sorry, dude. Neighbors. I apologize, man.
All right. In the cases as such, what would you have done if you were the salesperson? I mean, and white. If you were the salesperson and you were like, he still finished his spiel.
You have to. That's his bread and butter. It's his job.
So somebody come up to you, but like, hi, we're just in the, we're in the area talking to niggers. Like, excuse me, sir. Neighbors. I would have left.
I ain't gonna tell you what I would have done. You already know what I would have done. So
what would you?
I would have been petty.
What would you have done, Amber D?
I let him talk. I would have got his name, his little badge number. I would have called the company. I would have went door to door behind him to my neighbors and told them what happened. Okay, like just so you know. Okay, I would have been like, okay, I'm just gonna be I'm gonna have to set aside a week to address this because I got a whole strategy I gotta implement. It wouldn't have been just a door slam in the face. I'd take it further because I'm petty. But
okay, go ahead, Nick. What would you have done? Patty, sister Betty.
We don't advocate violence on this show, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But you already know what I would have done.
Is that the answer?
Yes, it is.
It's the answer, really. Violence is the answer.
He has for it to roll off that flawlessly.
It was too flawless.
Vocabulary.
Exactly. It was too flawless, and that's how you feel. How you trying to come get this nigger's money? Boom. Yeah. That's how he feel. It was too flawless. No.
Flawless.
And you gonna walk away from my door missing a couple teeth. No.
Listen, it was flawless. It wasn't even no stutter, no.
It was too smooth, yeah. It was just like.
It was smooth.
Part of his everyday spiel. No,
you know what I think? I think that he was in that neighborhood and he was shocked to see it was a brother.
How many No, I think it was because subconsciously he was surprised at how many doors he knocked on and people of color opened the door. Like, oh, they're the homeowners. A bunch of neighbors in this neighborhood, and then they're all together. And he's accustomed to, white homeowners.
What you say? They're all together.
They're all together.
But that lets you know right there, especially the way he said it with the ER and instead of the A.
Yeah.
That lets you know how he feels about black people. How he really feels about black people.
That it's a conversation.
And you know what? And the real problem with it, because I actually don't think that's that problematic, but it's homeowners. It's not like
because it's the solar, yeah.
gangbangers. Then I'm like, okay, the hard ER is okay, because I would probably call them hard ERs too. But these are homeowners. They're respectable. They're probably in a better position than he is, and that's why he's a door-to-door salesman. And so it's like some jealousy, resentment.
You think he really was like, these niggas all up in here owning these homes and I gotta go door to door?
He said it as a male. He said it too flawless. Too flawless. Like you said, no stutter, no nothing. It was just like, do-do-do-do-do. And then realized he was talking to a nigger and he had to catch himself. It was too flawless. It was too flawless.
I agree.
He'd have walked away with, well, I'm telling you, with a couple teeth missing. Sorry. What? Yeah. I'm sorry. That would have been my natural. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not trying to advocate violence, but that probably would have been my natural reaction to that. Wow. What did you just say? Like,
right. Yeah. I'd be going for his job.
I'll be a Medea, purge first and ask questions later.
But who gonna get you out of jail? That's assault. Did he assault you?
Yeah, he assaulted me by calling me a nigger at my door.
That's insult. I'm talking about assault.
It's an assault to me.
What Nick was like, insult, assault, tomato.
Thank you. Basically, you gonna come to my door and try to sell me something and call me a nigger? What?
You know what though? I'm with Amber. Amber said she'd be petty. Amber said she gonna pound the pavement. She gonna put in the time to go back.
I gotta set a week of time. I'm about to get him fired. I'm about to have all his last sales lost. I'm about to drag the company. Okay.
Well, guess what though? All you have to do is
property.
But watch this. All you got to do is just what we did. It's on there. The Ring camera sees it, shows it. He said the name of the company.
Okay.
He showed his face, and you heard him. I got to let that mug go viral. Everything going viral.
Yeah.
And it would have went viral with me knocking it.
Enough.
It really would have went viral, huh? It'd have been on World Star.
It went viral with him getting them teeth knocked down that throat too. He just swallowed a couple teeth. That's all. Now you can go about your business.
What?
And I'm still showing this.
He ain't coming to that neighborhood. He leaving that neighborhood. He like, I'm out of this neighborhood. I'm out of this nigga neighborhood.
And he lived 2 doors down. But the thing is, dude, you even gave your address. You live 2 doors down from these folks. You even gave your address. So now we know where you work. We know where you live. You big dummy. That deserves a Big Dummy Award.
Does it? Look at her. Talking about she cracking up too. Talking about the Big Dummy Award. Man, that had to be horrible. Just for me to put myself in his shoes. I mean, it rolled off like smooth as butter. Like, you know how people just like curse. Somebody might say a curse word and it just roll on off. You be like, oops. That had to be the worst of the worst of the worst. How do you think the conversation? How do you think the conversation went when he left? How do you think his conversation went when he left? You know, he called his homeboy.
Yeah, he did. I would have rather him say we just go about them MFs. I mean neighbors.
Yeah.
Man, that was something. That was something. I'm
wow.
like,
wow. Like, just, wow.
Well, he did what he did.
He fired. that ring that went by, he fired.
You know it went viral. Because I'm like, just like what we did. Like, bye, see ya.
Right, because it's like solar, whatever company he's with. We see the type of people they hire. They like, you know, I get less solar panels from another company. How about that?
Right. Yeah, because now he's possibly going to cost that company money from that. Like you said, because we see what type of people they hire, and that's how they really feel. But they want niggers' money though.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he fired, and they probably done lost a little bit of money. They better do something to get back. Free solar panels for all niggers for the next 2 weeks. That was crazy though. That's a lot of nerve.
It is.
Really lets you know how this person feels.
I don't think it was nerve, or I don't think it was intentional, but it's just the familiarity. It's just, he probably said it at least 50 times a day.
Exactly. I'm not saying it was intentional, because you could tell it wasn't intentional. But the fact that it rolled off of his tongue so smooth and effortlessly, that's how you feel about black people, dude. Mm-hmm. Like you said, call a spade a spade.
Now, do you feel as though that there's a cure for narcissism?
No.
I think you can improve on it. It can be something that you, just like addiction and other issues, you can manage it with like therapy and things like that. But I feel like that person is always going to struggle with that. You know, they're always going to have that struggle, but it's something that can be managed if that's what they desire. Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought narcissism was rooted in like a really poor sense of self-worth and self-identity, so then they manipulate other people around them for like attention and validation and et cetera and all that stuff.
Yeah. So you think it's like an addiction?
Yeah, like an addiction, or maybe like a medical, because I think it is something that's like one of those combo things where it's like nature and nurture combined. Like I feel like narcissism tends to run in families, and then there's like what is it called? Like the narcissistic family structure, family system. And like, you've got your golden child and you've got your scapegoat and you've got your supply and, you know, all of that. Like it's a whole thing. So I feel like it's something that kind of tends to like, become generational in families. And so I feel like it's something that can be managed, but because there is that element of nature in it, like it's generational, I don't think it's something you can like completely get rid of, but it's something you can manage. Like a true narcissist, like a, you know, clinically diagnosed narcissist.
Well, you know, America diagnosed President Trump as a narcissist.
That's not surprising.
That's because he is.
Well, okay. So tell me this. Would you date a narcissist?
No.
What's the difference?
I wouldn't date somebody that, you know, has a criminal record. I wouldn't want to date somebody that has, you know, certain issues. Like, it's just like, dating is not freaking charity work.
It seems to be. It seems to be, since we're all so sensitive.
No, absolutely not. Please value yourselves, women, young ladies. You are not obligated to save someone, nor should you. If someone has a problem, and it's such a big problem, and it's so horrible for them, they will empower themselves to fix their problem themselves.
Okay, well, what's the difference between confidence and narcissism? I thought we were attracted to confident men.
Yeah, but there's definitely, I can't think of it. You're making me want to Google. Google now. But there's definitely a difference between confidence and narcissism. So I feel like confidence is rooted in having a strong sense of self, whereas narcissism is rooted in having a weak sense of self. I thought.
What's the difference? Because here's the thing. Here's why I'm asking that. So you're attracted to this person, okay, because you say, "Oh, okay, he's confident. He's sure of himself. He knows what he wants." And vice versa for men with women. They know what they want. They know what they're dealing with, what they'll tolerate. And then you're like, okay, that's what attracted me to them. And then now I'm in this relationship and oh my God, they're a narcissist.
I mean, like I said, they're diagnosed.
Okay, wait. So is it, you can be confident, but don't talk about yourself too much. Don't focus on yourself too much.
No, I think it's,
I don't want you to.
Go ahead. Because someone is a jerk doesn't mean that they're a narcissist. Maybe
right. That's true.
Maybe they're an a-hole, but that doesn't mean they're a narcissist.
But some people tend to confuse that.
Definitely. Yeah.
They tend to confuse it, and it's like, okay, it's all about them, da-da-da-da, and they're a jerk, and I'm not going to say a-hole, but they're a jerk, and this is what attracted me to them.
Have you ever had somebody tell you, "I'm not conceited, I'm convinced"?
I like that.
Where would you put that? You would put that as confident?
Yeah, listen here. Ask me what I say. I'm recognizing my blessings.
What?
Yeah, that's what I do. Oh, I'm not conceited. I recognize my blessings.
Oh. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
That one too.
In the name of the church. That always put a bow on it, don't it?
Right. Exactly.
Always put a bow on it. Narcissism, you guys know, is a personality disorder. And like what Amber was saying, if you're diagnosed. But you know how we do. We always self-diagnose.
We say everybody narcissistic.
Well, I'm going to give you the definition. A narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. Now, back to the topic. Are we becoming too sensitive? It's like, oh, okay, well, you're not paying me attention today. You're a narcissist.
I think it's way more complicated than that. And I feel like it's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And I feel like also not just being like a diagnosed narcissist, but also like having narcissistic tendencies, because a lot of people who have grown up in a, family system, a narcissistic family system, will usually become adults that are not narcissists, but they have some narcissistic traits that they learned in childhood. Or people who have suffered narcissistic abuse as adults in like a romantic relationship, they may walk away from that relationship and carry on some narcissistic tendencies. That doesn't mean that they are a narcissist, but that they've learned some bad things,
Now watch this. So would you say that an only child is a narcissist because of their upbringing? Here's the thing. So as an only child, you don't pay attention to somebody else's feelings because it was just you. It was just you. So you didn't have the luxury of hurting someone else's feelings. It was like, this is what I want. This is it. You know what I'm saying? So how can you deem that person a narcissist? I've been accused of being a narcissist.
Because you are. I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, I think like when you read the definition, Mel, you're so self-confident and so self-absorbed that you don't care about other feelings. And that gets into that lack of empathy, like that's not normal. And that's not being confident. Not caring about how someone else feels is not confidence. Like that's kind of psychotic or like.
But in the defense of being an only child, you never had to experience that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to throw only child under the bus, but I think you can learn how to have, because I feel like the flip side of that is like, that I've observed is a lot of only child people, they are like, they don't have good social skills. Like they don't have good boundaries. Cause like every friend is their sibling, it's just like calm down, like I get it. Like they're desperate for their feelings and the connection, cause they didn't have it at home. They're desperate, it's a little awkward, but I think even as kids, you can tell, especially if you grew up with siblings, especially siblings close in age, you can tell the kids that don't have siblings are like calm down, like get off me, like it's okay, we're friends, calm down.
Right. Look at Nick. Nick already know where I'm about to go, right? Nick, you know where I'm about to go. All right. So for those who don't know, I am an only child. I don't like people all over me. How about that? I'd be like, so not desperate. And another thing, I got so many cousins. I got 23 first cousins. So when people will be like, oh, okay, that's my cousin. Who are you? No, I don't need no more. So I guess I'm the opposite. Nope. And as far as like me, I was accused of being, well, actually my one aunt, she always say, yeah, that's OCS, only child syndrome. How my response is. Do I feel like everything should go my way? Yeah, if I don't have anybody else to debate with me on, do I feel like everything should go my way in the world? No. So I'm well-rounded. So I guess my first cousins, a lot of people thought like some of us were siblings because we're very, very close, but we're not. We're cousins. And here's the deal. They probably will say something different because I'll hear them say, they already know. They be like, oh, that's Mel. That's just how she is. Just like with them. That's how they are. You already know. But I had, like my cousin Sean, I'm going to put her name out there. Put her out there. She had boundaries. She wasn't putting up with it. Boom. Nope. That's it. I have boundaries. So I don't want people over me. Don't be asking me for nothing because the answer is I ain't got it.
Well, I think that's as an adult. I'm talking about little.
No, as a child. They probably.
I feel like even like, and a lot of like people will compensate by that. Like I have one child, I have an only child, and a lot of people will intentionally compensate that by making sure their child has good relationships with their peers, with their first cousins. So it's like, okay, they're nearly siblings. They're not. You don't have siblings, but they can work on those social skills. And like as Kim Richardson said, she knows exactly what I'm talking about with little kids. Like poor baby, they just ain't got nobody to play with. They just. Desperate. They just.
No, but you know what though? Let me say this. I will say this. I didn't really, my friends didn't like me when I was younger.
Oh, so it was one-sided friendship.
But no, watch this. I didn't care. Guess what? This is how it went. No lie. So you might be on to something a little bit where it comes off where it's like only child syndrome versus narcissism. I thought something was wrong with them. Real talk. I was like, they had a bad day today. It was, Nick, you remember that time we were sitting there with the show? Like, I really did. But guess what? It made me into who I am today as an adult.
Right.
Where, i.e. my slogan, it's okay to be you. If you don't feel like dealing with nobody, you don't have to. If you don't like me, that is perfectly fine. Because guess what? I like me.
Right.
There's the confidence.
See, I was the opposite when I was little. I was the only child for about 5 years. And then my brother spoiling that. But as a younger child, it hurt my feelings if nobody liked me. My mom used to be so mad, like, get over it. They didn't like Jesus Christ. Like, get over it. I would cry, come in the house crying. They didn't speak to me today, because she said I would wave at everybody going down the street. Nobody waved back, blew the horn. I would cry. Now, I don't give a flying.
But guess what, though? But watch this, though.
Listen,
it's the culture. Now, somebody else will be like, they don't want to be your friend. Oh, your mother was like, get over it. They ain't like Jesus. I'm telling you, a black home will give you some coping skills.
Exactly.
You will have some coping skills.
To do it. I'm telling you, my mom didn't hold no punches. My mom was the type of person that will cuss you out without saying a cuss word, without raising her voice, would smile and make you feel this big when she was done. I didn't learn that trait from her. I got my trait from my daddy. I'm going to say every cuss word in the book and make up some. I'm sorry. But I wish I learned that from her. But yeah, I would, oh my God, you would think the world was ending because somebody didn't like me or I didn't have a friend that didn't speak. Now, I don't care.
She don't care, y'all. She don't care, y'all.
I don't care. If you don't like me, you don't like me. Like I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. Okay. My attitude is not for everybody. My humor is not for everybody.
Childish
I might not. I'm just not for everybody. But guess what? Like you said, Mel, I love me.
Right. That's all that matters.
God loves me.
That's all that matters. But I have a friend, love her to pieces, and she said if her children can tolerate her, they gonna do fine in the world. She'd be cutting, cracking on her kids, roasting them the whole night. If they can handle me, this is what she said, they can handle me, they ain't got no problems in the world.
Right. Exactly.
So, there you go. There you go. What you gonna do?
Right. Listen, I stopped crying about that a long time ago. I got my
I think most people outgrow it, but it's definitely something you really see with like kindergarten and young.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, he ain't got no siblings. Oh, like you can tell,
right?
Like be my friend. Like calm down. We're just playing basketball. Like
be my friend. Come over, play with me.
Exactly.
Be like, I don't know. What's that sound?
I know that sound. That sound is
Mel's Medical Moments. Ow! Listen, it's been a while since we have talked, lovely people. Listen, we're going to talk about symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiencies. Now, here we go, real quick. A sore or red tongue is called glossitis. That pale yellow tinge to your skin. I promise you, I'm good on B12. If you're looking at me, mouth ulcers. Some people, look at it like the canker sores, pins and needle fillings in your fingertips, changes in the way that you walk or you move around, disturbed vision, irritability, depression, and lots more. So if you're feeling like depressed and all that other stuff, you'll be like, okay, wait, what's really going on? Now, we know that this is the season of SAD. That's an acronym for seasonal affective disorder. Y'all know that. So just kind of like watch, but make sure you're getting everything that you need. Now, here are some good sources that include vitamin B12. Okay. Your broccoli, Brussels sprouts, liver. Y'all like liver?
I do. Fried, girl.
Oh, snap. I'm concerned after watching that movie. Spinach, peas, asparagus, chickpeas, brown rice. Now here is the most amazing thing about the human body. We crave what we need. So we need to listen to our bodies. And if you're eating something that you normally don't eat, look to say, wonder what's in here that I really need. All right. All right. So vitamin B12, let's look at that. Let's look at it and get what we need. All right. I see. Oh, okay. So we have some people that's listening that actually take vitamin B12. Now, if you don't know where your blood levels are, please contact your primary care physician, your PCP, get some blood work done. I recommend you get blood work done twice a year to make sure that there is no deficiencies. And if you're on the East Coast, we don't get that much sun, so they say vitamin D. But let me explain something to you. I don't want to go into this too long. You have water-soluble and your fat-soluble vitamins, okay? So with your water-soluble vitamins, you excrete what you don't need. But your fat-soluble, they kind of just hang on. So get your blood work done, see where your levels are, and see what it is that you need to take to make sure that you are getting everything you need. All right? All right, there's that Mel's Medical Moments. Had to give it to you real quick. So you said you will not date any a narcissist. A known narcissist.
Right. Like if... And see, and a lot of women will go into dating with this, like Bob the Builder mindset. Like, oh, he has this problem. He has that struggle. I can fix him. I can help him. He won't stay that. Girl, you don't know that? Like, what? No, I feel like as women, our most valuable asset is our time. And you don't want to, you have to be very careful, very, treat it as the valuable item that it is. Do not waste your time.
Okay.
Yeah, and if people have struggles, everyone's on a journey, but if someone is being that disturbed by an issue, they will get a fire under their butt and address it themselves. They don't need you to fix their issues. And why would you want a man that's not motivated to fix it himself?
Exactly. Yeah. It just don't work. It don't work.
Yes,
you can motivate them all you want, but if they are stuck in a rut and happy being stuck in that rut in their everyday routine, doing whatever it is that they do, criminal activities or whatever, run like Forrest Gump. Be a running fool. Run. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Just run. That's it. Run. She said, just run. All right, lovely people. Let me give you today's footnote. Today's footnote is what you see is what you get. Okay? What you see is what you get. Maya Angelou, we know her for saying this. When people show you who they are, believe them. You don't have to worry about fixing anybody. If you see it and it don't look good, run, as Nick said. Run, Forrest, run. All right, beautiful people. That is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Thank you for joining in to Shop Talk with Mel. Make sure that you guys like us, subscribe, and share on all social media. Also, below in the description below, subscribe on YouTube. Check us out. We are on your favorite podcast everywhere. Okay? Everywhere. So if you want to listen later, you can do so. Now, we did talk about some things that you probably didn't want to hear about. But can we just allow people to be who they are? And we have the choice to deal with them or not. We have the choice to change the channel, not cancel them. You know why? Because I need to know who to run from, all right? Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people, you know what it is. Shop Talk every Saturday on your favorite podcast.